thought this would be easier, a lot less sleazier. Turns out I had it wrong. I feel like I don't belong. Streamers told me to use React, promised me jobs, that's a fact. Instead I'm drowned in misery, slow performance a pure mystery. Why did I choose this road? Heavy modules with Node, breaking my heart into pieces, finding myself jobless. What went wrong with Rust? I thought Joe Biden had trust. Now I'm left with slow compiles while all C coders smile. I was pulled in by ease, told me React was a breeze, said C was unsafe and lame. Turns out Rust is the same. So many crabs everywhere, but back out now, I don't dare. Fell in love with TypeScript, thought my skills finally tipped to the peak of the web, but turns out I'm a pleb. Why did I choose this road? Heavy modules with Node, breaking my heart into pieces, finding myself jobless. What went wrong with Rust? I thought Joe Biden had trust. Now I'm left with slow compiles while all C coders smile. Now I rely on AI just to barely get by. Wish I had time to get better. I'm stuck, forced, fettered. No one else seems to care. It's like a circus fair. Would love to quit this race, this cult-like craze. Alas, I'm bound by these shackles. Real code I'll ne'er tackle.
Yeah, pull up to the repo with that imperative bitch energy. These tech bros about to learn about efficiency. Stack Overflow rep don't impress me none. Your Medium articles make me wanna run. Got these nerds in my mentions talking about their code, but their GitHub commits looking mighty old. You flex with that functional programming flow, but your recursive logic moving way too slow. Got 99 problems and your React is one. Your state management's weak, hun, we're done. I'm that Vandal bitch writing straight vanilla, while you over-engineer and trying to kill her. Simple problem with your 1,000 depths. Can't ship inside my prod, doesn't matter your test. Don't slide in my DMs with your Rust code. I see right through your try-hard mode. Yeah. Your Docker containers like your personality, empty inside, no functionality. You talk big game about your AI model, but your neural network's stuck in zero throttle. Trying to compensate with your big O notation, but your pants scream tiny baby O notation. You can keep your fancy frameworks, boo. I'm too busy making revenue. Your Kubernetes cluster's a mess like your game. Multiple instances, but they all the same. Talking about your blockchain NFT, but your wallet's empty. Can't fool me. Your code review's longer than your dating history. All these comments, but still a mystery. Think you're special with your GraphQL, but your query's hitting straight to hell. You fork my repo, trying to contribute, but your code's so basic, it's destitute. Got more red flags than your Git conflicts. Your deployment pipeline needs a fix. Bragging about your fancy architecture, but the inside of your pants say you're a bragger. Try to scale up, but you're scaling down, while I'm out here wearing the crown. I'm that
1
bad
minute,
bitch
folks.
writing straight vanilla, while you over-engineer and trying to kill her. Simple problem with your 1,000 depths. Can't ship inside my prod, doesn't matter your test. Don't slide in my DMs with your Rust code. I see right through your try-hard mode. Yeah. Your brain's throwing 404s with all that list. Parentheses got your mind in a twist. Talking about monads in your Haskell flow, but your neural pathways running mighty slow. Use effect this
Okay.
and use context that. Your hook's got your synapses falling flat.
Turn the music down. I think I'm ready to go. What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a good day today. It's good to see everybody. What's up, Travis? Kubernetes. Hey, Laughily. Kubernetes. Yeah. Titanium clad. Bro, where you been? Bro, you've been ghosting. You've been ghosting, Titanium clad. Good to see you. Good news, I got a job at a company that treats me well and respects me. Bad news, it's a large plate of WordPress and React spaghetti. Oof. Oof. That sucks, but also does not suck. Man. Travis reads Kubernetes is over effing complicated. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Have you ever used a Kubernetes cluster? It's stupid. It's just straight up stupid. Just dumb. Just completely dumb. What's up, Patro Close? Good to see you. What's up, Battle Gnome? Used to be an assembly Chad. Good to see you. Everybody on X, it's good to see you. Make sure you say hello if you'd like. LinkedIn, Rumble, all the places, YouTube, and of course Twitch. I'm waiting for Twitch ads to be over and done with. Yeah, well, it's a cluster. Kubernetes is a cluster. It's a cluster of something. And you know what Kubernetes reminds me of? It's like a time traveling microplastic. No, it's like a time traveling set of microplastics, because Kubernetes existed before microplastics were in your balls, and yet when I use Kubernetes, it feels like I have microplastics in my balls, because I'm essentially doing that in digital form. I'm just shoving microplastics in Bezos's balls. So, I mean, Kubernetes solve time travel? Potentially? One of those things where you go to a website, it's all vague solutions that assume you already know what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, that's part of it anyways, yeah. High-tech micro solutions for your solutions business, yeah. It's all up in the ball sack of, might even say it's web-packed in. It's a bit shifted and web-packed. I had to shift off to one side. It couldn't stay down the center, right? You know what it's like. My fellow big boys, right? You have to kind of just like funnel it over to one side, right? And so you got to shift it and then web pack it in. The body of web dev. Like. All right. You guys are crazy, but you're my kind of crazy. Shift bit. Over-engineered tech and frameworks I find more tedious and confusing than just vanilla. Maybe I just work on small projects, but frameworks just seem like a flex or an HR screening trick. They are a flex. You don't need frameworks. You actually don't need... It's my argument, and I've argued this a lot, that you don't need any framework, period. Almost ever. There are very few cases where it's a net positive. And usually the arguments I get back are anecdotal, which is it worked for me and my team of 100 people or whatever. And I've had good experiences with it. It gave me good, nice feelings, nice, comfy feelings. It's all just internalized arguments that like I use it and I use it well, so it's good for everyone. There's no real argument. It's not a real argument. There's no logic behind it. It's all based on feelings, which is a statement on society. We lean, feelings are important, but we lean way too much on them, especially in a field where you're supposed to use a lot of logical reasoning. And we just tend to throw that out the window, and at the cost of what? Well, that's what this stream is about. Damn, son, those structs are packed. x86 is plenty of a framework. Yeah, Good Things Trace isn't here. I know. For many reasons. Not just because I'm saying this, Travis, but Good Things Trace isn't here for many reasons. What's up, Pure? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well, Pure. I hope you and your family are happy and healthy. All right. Let's get to the news. I do have work ahead of me and a few things to tackle, so I can't be on here for very long. But I do have some news items lined up. So I don't have a particular, like, sometimes I like to line things up so that there's a theme, you know. I try and make this cinema, right? There's a theme. There's cinema involved. Not today. Today's just a mishmash of stuff. So I'm just gonna get right in there. Doing good, making things work, learning a lot. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Pierre. When I tell her I'm packing, but she's disappointed by the struck. Yeah, the struck doesn't stand up to scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? Just it goes limp and soft. Once compiled. Happens to the best of us. Okay, news time. Let me get the right camera here. Holy cow, Spiro. Do you stream even? Pff, bro doesn't even stream. Here we go. Okay. First article that I thought was interesting. Definitely interesting. OpenAI. So this is an article directly from OpenAI.com. They created a blog post of a study that they ran with MIT. And the intent of the study was to determine how people interact with their AI system and what it does to them on like a mental, emotional level. I am going to skip a bunch of the stuff that is in the study because I just honestly don't have a lot of time to go through it. Let's get down to the conclusions. So what we found, we sought to explore themes around how people are using models like ChatGPT for social and emotional engagement and how this affects their self-reported well-being. Our findings include emotional engagement with ChatGPT is rare in real-world usage. Effective cues, aspects of interactions that indicate empathy, affection, or support were not present in the vast majority of on-platform conversations we assessed, indicating that engaging emotionally is a rare use case for ChatGPT. Even among heavy users, high degrees of effective use are limited to a small group. Emotionally expressive interactions were present in a large percentage of usage for only a small group of the heavy advanced voice mode users we studied. So you have to take into account here that some people were using voice mode to interact with ChatGPT. This subset of heavy users were also significantly more likely to agree with statements such as, "I consider ChatGPT to be a friend." Because this affective use is concentrated in a small subpopulation of users, studying its impact is particularly challenging as it may not be noticeable when averaging overall platform trends. Voice mode has mixed effects on well-being. So I'm just going to stop right here, and just for a moment, I just want you to think about the impact that things like AI systems like this are going to have on a person when you compare the method by which they communicate but the method by which a person communicates with an LLM. We're accustomed to communicating in our daily lives verbally through audible sounds. We go walk up to a loved one, you say, "I love you," you give them a hug, you say good morning, goodbye. You have sad moments, you share something that is not just visible, but also audible. If you consider the amount of interaction that happens on a written level between people and the relationships that you form at a written level between people, it is substantively, is that the right word? It's a lot like less. You don't build that kind of a relationship using just textual communication and only textual communication. So just imagine what could happen to at least some people, if not maybe a lot of people, when the doors are open for people to communicate with an LLM system that is more than just textual, where now you can talk to the thing and it's just smart enough to determine whether you have a particular tone sometimes, whether you mean one thing or another. It can contextualize short exchanges, things like this. And you can, at least to me, it seems like it's an extremely reasonable conclusion to make that people are going to become far more attached to an LLM or an AI system if they can have verbal, audible communication back and forth, and it's even close to realistic, even if it's not like the most realistic thing on the planet, or the same as talking to a real person. Even if it just resembles some level of similarity to that, there are definitely people out there who will not be able to avoid some kind of attachment to that. So voice mode has mixed effects on well-being. In the controlled study, users engaging with ChatGepetto via text showed more effective cues in conversations compared to voice users when averaging across messages, and controlled testing showed mixed impacts on emotional well-being. Voice modes were associated with better well-being when used briefly, but worse outcomes with prolonged daily use. Importantly, using a more engaging voice did not lead to more negative outcomes for users over the course of the study compared to neutral voice or text conditions. Conversation types impact well-being differently. Personal conversations, which included more emotional expression from both the user and model compared to non-personal conversations, were associated with higher levels of loneliness, but lower emotional dependence and problematic use at moderate usage levels. In contrast, non-personal conversations tended to increase emotional dependence, especially with heavy usage. This is kind of weird, right? Because I would imagine that this script would be flipped. You would have more emotional conversations when you're using the AI system and talking about non-personal things. It's a very strange outcome. I don't know how to explain that. If you're using more personal conversations, you have lower emotional dependence. However, you felt more lonely, because at the end of the day, who do you have to look at if you're talking to something at a more emotional level? You don't have anyone, right? And so you feel more lonely at the end. It's such a strange outcome of using voice mode with AI. And I don't see voice communication going away. I think it's just going to become more prevalent, especially when you also couple it with the fact that you have Google Gemini, which can now watch your screen and essentially interact with whatever you're doing on screen and provide you real-time feedback as you talk to it. And pretty soon, we already have AI avatars. We already have AI, what would you call those? Those things where like they replace your face, like there's a whole field of AI issues that I don't even think we've begun to scratch the surface of. And in a way, I'm glad that OpenAI was willing to do this study. And in another way, I find this to be extremely depressing and also worrying. How many people are going to mistake or confuse their emotions of a variety of different kinds with an AI system to something that clearly negatively impacts their lives? This is crazy. User outcomes are influenced by personal factors such as individuals' emotional needs, perceptions of AI, and duration of usage. The controlled study allowed us to identify other factors that may influence users' emotional well-being, although we cannot establish causation for these factors given the design of the study. people who had a stronger tendency for attachment in relationships and those who viewed the AI as a friend that could fit in their personal life were more likely to experience negative effects from chatbot use. This doesn't surprise me. Extended daily use was also associated with worse outcomes. These correlations, while not causal, provide important directions for future research. And then they want to combine different methods. So this is like mind-bogglingly worrisome to me. There are at least a non-zero number of people, and I think maybe more than we think, who are going to use these AI systems in ways that will absolutely negatively impact them and fill voids that they should not fill. Mostly because they don't actually fill the void. This is ripe for all kinds of issues. And I don't know what the answers are here, because I just don't see AI going away anytime soon. On a slightly black pill / positive, black pill / white pill, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again right now, as depressing as this sounds. I think that we are headed towards a huge problem where AI is going to cause such a dramatic negative impact in such a big way that very few people are going to be able to turn their heads away from it and ignore the negatives of AI. And then, only then, will people in mass take a step back and go, what have we done? And why have we done this? But until that big dramatic moment where, say, a lot of people maybe lose their lives to this, a lot of people 404 themselves because of this, a lot of people suffer in mental anguish, lose their life savings, all kinds of scenarios could happen. Until that dramatic event happens, we're just full speed ahead, and we're all in for the ride. Let me see chat here. You sent me a message, Travis? Sure, let me see. Hopefully I can pull this up proper. I'll just leave this up here while I catch up on chat. You guys can read what Travis asked ChatGeppetto. It's pretty banger. My social autism makes me invulnerable to the pernicious emotional effects of prolonged exposure to parasocial LLM interactions. That's true, Battle, but not to parasocial streamer interactions. Give me all your subs. Wait until they bring the mobile game Dopamine Farmers. I know, yeah. Yeah. My personality depresses and confuses the LLM I interact with. After extensive contact, some have expressed feelings. LLM despondency is real. Yeah. People underestimate the power of their mind and how much LLM AI stuff destroys their ability to invent and innovate. Gare Games, good to see you, by the way, Gare Games. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I don't know if it's not just me. I know this is happening. I cannot count how often I have seen people on social media of all kinds, Reddit, Hacker News, X, you name it. I've seen it all over the place. And they will say more or less, I was using AI to vibe code my way through something that I normally would do myself. I've been programming for 10, maybe 20 years. And I ran out of keys or tokens, or the API system went down, or I had to go off of it for a while for some reason or another, and I felt like I couldn't code anymore. I have on my, I don't have the portion videos out yet, but I have the live stream, which is the full multi-hour video where I go through scientific studies, several of them, I believe 2 or 3, where the AI systems and automation, we even went through a study that looked at automating textile manufacturers, people who literally piece together clothes. And in that study, they found that people who were manual could jump into the automated version of the same thing, like with sewing machines and whatnot, far easier than people who were only on the machine. And people who were in the middle, where they did a bit of manual and a bit of the sewing machine, had the easiest time. And then that's just we're talking about textile manufacturing. When it comes to AI with programming, it's actually even worse. It reduces your ability to exercise the brain, which is like a muscle, so that you can solve problems without the assistance of a system that solves problems for you. It makes it impossible for you to do your job without it. And then you have to wonder the long-term consequences. What if AI disappears for a while down the road? What if energy usage consumption becomes too high and people can't use AI the way that they would like to, etc., etc., etc. You can name all kinds of reasons why you should not be leveraging AI anywhere near as much as people say you should for programming. And that's kind of one of the gripes I have about some streamers, including a streamer who's doing it currently. I won't say who. And they're vibe coding and they make it look like they glamorize it. But all it's doing is it's removing people from their ability to do actual good quality programming. And we're in a bad state where we need quality programmers. So it is what it is, and I just don't think it's going to end until something really bad happens. Yeah, it makes your brain lazy if overused. Hey, Frackery, good to see you. Yeah, it primes with Thrymogen. Yeah, it primes with Thrymogen. That's right, Patrick Close. Now, to be fair, he would say, it makes you stupid, don't use it. I think he's actually literally said that. So, credit to him. But just generally speaking, I mean, in general, there are a lot of AI hypers who say that you should be vibe coding. And of course, a lot of it comes from people who have some kind of vested interest in it. And I just think we're headed for a big disaster. Big disaster. I don't think it's avoidable. I think the avoidability it's past. Hey, Lightspeed, good to see you. Did you guys see that AI overlay that's invisible on Zoom for cheating on LeetCode interviews? Yep, I did. Yeah, I 100% saw that. It's a real thing. Yeah. And man, I've talked so much. We've gone over articles in the Daily Tech News and Enlightened Programming, the series. I have some new Enlightened Programming videos up as of yesterday, by the way. We've gone through all kinds of stuff, and that was one of them, where companies were complaining about the use of AI to cheat on LeetCode, and it does exactly what you're describing, Lightspeed. It's literally like an Electron app, and it just watches your screen, and as you're typing stuff out and you're communicating verbally with the interviewer, it will solve LeetCode problems for you, and you just breeze through it. And I'm gonna be honest, okay? Hot take. Why not? Please give me a moral reason why you shouldn't be allowed to do that when everything else it sometimes even forces you, if not highly encourages you, to use AI. Otherwise, you won't make it. Yeah, there you go, Travis. Yeah. I don't see why you can tell me that you have any moral qualm about me using an AI system to solve LeetCode problems if you're willing to let me use AI to solve any other number of problems in my actual job. I just don't see how you can make a case against it. You have no standing to say that it's immoral. I don't think you do. And that's not to speak of the fact that I think LeetCode is an extremely idiotic way to interview people to begin with. Battle on Twitch is because I don't pay for AI access, but the syntax searches I get back are so error-ridden and unreliable. I've actually learned from troubleshooting it. I don't use Copilot for the reasons Prime stated about how it has affected his native skills. Yes. So maybe I can jump into a second article. I might only have time for these two articles because this is a huge topic, but there is a second article that I wanted to talk about. So maybe actually this is a good tie-in. I've spoken to school teachers who use AI to write their tests. Jeez, Gare Games. That's insane. That's crazy. And it's just at that point, why would a student using AI to answer the test be suddenly immoral? Tell me what the delineation is. Can you point to the delineation where using AI to create the test is more or less immoral than using AI to take the test? I like, sources used to be important. Yeah. Have a look at, let's see if I can pull this up here. I think is guitaring a word? Yes. AI overview from Google. Yes. Guitaring can be considered a word functioning as a noun, the action of playing the guitar, or as a present participle and gerund of guitar. I don't understand how people cannot put critical thought into these. This is crazy. And we've gone over this time and time again. We've spent the last maybe 3 to 5 months on this stream, my stream, with my viewers who are made up of extremely intelligent people, to be quite honest. And we've broken down how these AI systems are lean towards generally really terrible outcomes and really terrible things. And there are a few good use cases. We've gone over those too, like Cloudflare using AI to determine when people use obfuscated JavaScript code to inject like malware. Like that's a pretty good usage of AI, and you walk into that with the realization that AI is going to pick up on some things that aren't true. You're going to get false positives, things like that. But I can see why AI would be a benefit to a system like that. That's a positive use of AI. But we focus so much on all the negative. We don't think through about our problems. I hate to say it, but it's just the state of society in the last 5 to 10 years. We just seem to be turning off our desire to push ourselves to think. Let me say it one more freaking time, all right? You're noodling on your guitar. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Laffley is good on his guitar. I'm going to say it one more time to all the programmers watching out there. Wherever you're on, whatever platform you're watching on, if you're watching this live or later, I want to stress this again. I'm probably not going to stop saying this pretty much ever. We need you. If you're a programmer who's just getting started, especially, we need you. We need you in a bad, bad way. And what we need you to do is stop listening to the influencers, to the hypers, to the train jumpers, to the fanatics, the people who jump on fads, the people who tell you that you can't solve problems by yourself without using a framework or paradigm, or somebody smarter than you invented this wheel. Why would you bother to use anything but this wheel? And I'm talking about things like React, Svelte, Vue, package managers like NPM, even Rust Crate, even Rust, even functional programming, even OOP, like object-oriented programming. Doesn't matter. The fundamentals are the most important thing that you need to be learning, because we have a massive shortage of people who understand the fundamentals. And as an additional point, you do not need anybody to teach you the fundamentals. Myself and several others like me are high school dropouts, used to live on the streets, used to sleep in our cars, didn't have a place to live. We taught ourselves everything we know, and we're here making videos or building stuff or working in the industry on our own. And we are not particularly intelligent people. I would garner a pretty safe guess that I am not more intelligent than a vast majority of the people watching me right now. maybe as equal, maybe. Depends on who you talk to. But this is to say that if I can do it, you can do it, and we really, really need you to do it. Stop leaning on these crutches. You don't need them. You have everything you need right now without the crutches. And we need people who know how to operate in this industry without the crutches. Wanted to make that clear again. It's really, really important. Yeah, Travis says we're the network of dingus-oriented programmers. It's true. We're the DOP network. We're DOP programmers. Yeah, DOP programmers. That's going to be difficult to say. We're going to have to come up with a better way to say that. Okay. So let's do the second article. Let me see if I can find it. Where did it go? No. Where is it? It's not this one. I think... No, it's not this one either. Hang on, guys. I gotta find it. Where on earth did it go? Napster sold for $207 million, by the way. Might as well get this one out real quick. That's right, you thought Napster was gone? No, Napster's not gone. Napster came back in a big way. Big way. 207 mil. And they got bought out by a company called Infinite Reality. So there you go. Napster's still here. That's malware. That's GPU stuff. That's Kubernetes, which we were talking about earlier. Yeah. That's the shady AI stuff. That's crawlers. That's Game Informer return. I don't do that. That's DeepSeek. This. Well, I'm trying to find this damn article, which I don't think I can find right now. Apparently, the Bosch 500 series dishwashers require Wi-Fi to do basic operations. Just imagine when AI is installed so that your dishwasher runs at optimal performance at maximum cost. Looking forward to that. GTX stuff. Oh yeah, the title of the stream, I'm ahead of my time. Why am I saying that? Because if you look at the price of GPUs as a result of the AI push, what's happening is that GPU prices are becoming out of reach for your average gamer. Therefore, I am ahead of my time solely because the video game that I'm building on stream with just HTML, vanilla HTML, vanilla JavaScript, vanilla CSS, C compiled to WebAssembly, my game is ahead. It's ahead of the curve because it runs on a single CPU core with no hardware acceleration on the browser. So you're welcome, video game industry. Okay? As the prices of these GPUs get pricier and pricier thanks to AI, I'm over here single-handedly proving that you can save the video game industry. Look at this. All running on the browser. All of it. Single core CPU. All right? So you're welcome. Okay, you're welcome. I'll accept all your likes and your subs and your followers and your reposts and all of that. Okay, I accept it all as a form of currency for single-handedly saving the gaming industry. All right, so there we go. That's the title of my stream. Let me see if I can find this stupid article. No. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Here it is. So since we're talking about this, and we're talking about the effects of AI as you're coding, I'll spend the last 20-ish minutes that I have, and we'll talk about this. We'll consider this part like a newsworthy item, because it kind of is. You know, it led from the study here of the people's emotional well-being into a conversation about how AI basically breaks your brain and makes your brain incapable of thinking for itself. So I have this article, which I'll go into more detail on one of the Enlightened Programming streams. But essentially, this person breaks down what vibe coding is and how you would use it. So just give me a sec here, because this is kind of last minute that I'm pulling it up. Here's a good summary. In 2022, folks could copy code into ChatGPT and ask questions or ask for rewrites. In 2023, folks could ask it to review and edit a single file with an IDE integration like Copilot. In 2024 and 2025, folks could ask it to solve a specific problem in the project and have it find out what files to edit them, then verify its own work, and correct any mistakes it made with feedback from linting errors and unit tests. With LLM agents having so much capability, people can delegate the idea of refining their imprecise ideas to a precise implementation elaborated by an LLM through vibe coding. And then they go in, he brings up this video, which you can watch for yourselves if you want. And it's essentially the definition of using, like, how you use vibe coding to do these things. So if you open a blank folder, you tell it to set up an initial project, it can do a lot at once. Hang on a sec. What's up, Ghost? Good to see you. With no rules, no patterns to mimic, and no constraints, it can produce something that feels more tailored for you in minutes than NPX Create React app ever could. With a simple instruction like, I want to create a website for my ski resort, and about 10 minutes of having it massage errors of its own making, I can have just that. So here you go, the result of a vibe-coded website, right? These leaps of progress are what fuels the vibe coding idea. To go from nothing to something shareable and personal sounds incredible. Agents as a concept aren't new. Google I/O made up buzzwords like agentic era to describe this concept. It has been realized through open technologies like AutoGeppetto, XAgent, and more recently by Anthropic with the MCP. So then the way you interact with it is by essentially asking it to do things, and then it says you could, the article goes on to say you can run commands in the console like delete files. This consent can be pre-approved with a mode called YOLO. You can witness this autonomy for yourself today in Cursor. You can go over to the Primeagen stream right now and watch them vibe code in Cursor. I believe they got some stuff from the Cursor team directly, probably through some kind of connection with Lex Friedman, because Prime was just on Lex Friedman, and Lex Friedman knows the Cursor guys. So there's probably a, handoff there, the little bit of a group forming there. And you can see they're trying to code a game in 7 days, or like 1 game a day or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't paying much attention to it, but it's exactly that. If you want to go see it, you can see them actually doing it. And so you do that, you use Cursor, you go build the thing, it does it all for you. You tell it, hey, you only live once, just go delete a whole bunch of stuff, thousands of lines of code, etc. Now, this is the part where I thought the author of this article, and let me give a shout out. Let's see, I guess it's Sendine.dev. I'm not sure the name of the person, but he or she, I don't know, did a great job of summarizing the issues and like actually writing down the issues in a way that I think a few people have touched on in their experiences with AI, but I think few people have written as well as this. Details on the mistakes. regularly clones TypeScript interfaces instead of exporting the original and importing it, reinvents components all the time with the same structure without searching the code base for an existing copy of that component, writes trusted server-side logic on the client side using RPC calls to update the database. As a feature develops, it prioritizes maintaining previous mistakes instead of reevaluating its design, even when told to do so. You have to say the previous implementation is outright unusable for it to replace its design. Cursor has some sort of concise mode that they'll turn on when there is high load, where the model will still be rated at the normal price, but behaves in a useless manner. I really want to stress this one. I really felt like this was newsworthy as part of the Daily Tech News, even though it's also worthy of enlightened programming streams. Cursor will automatically change the style of the model that you are asking to interact with, charge you the normal price, but give you an underhanded, underperforming model. This model will omit details, drop important findings, and corrupt the output that is being produced. This is, first of all, this is not shocking. Like, I'm not surprised. It's not surprising. The idea that any corporation or any company has your best interests in mind has almost always been proven to be false. There are times when it's true. I'm not making some kind of, whatever. Who cares about it's not about anything else except for we know companies pull this kind of crap. So whatever, it's not a shock. It's depressing though, and I still hate it when I see it. When it's really, really clear that on the one hand, a company like Cursor will get into bed with, well, let's just be honest, they'll get into bed with people like Lex Friedman or Primeagen, who, it's not really Lex's fault, or Primeagen's fault, but it's people like that. Even if it could be anyone, I'm just stating them because it's just who it has been, not because I blame them for this. It's not like they did this, but I'm just saying that it's Cursor from their perspective. Of course, they're going to team up with influencers like that, who are then going to say, hey, you should use it, or you should consider using it. Or at least Prime has some reasonable takes where he's like, well, in some cases it's good and in some cases it's bad, and here's when you want to use it and whatnot. But Cursor will kind of hand wave that away. The Cursor's team will hand wave that away and say, no, it's great. You should be using it. And then they pull crap like this. So you're actually getting screwed two ways. You're getting Eiffel Towered here. And everybody's high-fiving above you. On the one hand, you're being told that if you use AI, you're going to be a 10x coder, when in reality, your brain is just becoming mush. On the other hand, they're also pulling crap like this. You might not even know that the model has changed on you as you're using it, paying normal prices. Right? Cannot be trusted to produce unit tests with decent coverage. Will often break the project's code to fit a unit test rather than fix the unit test when told to do so. When told to fix styles with precise details, it will alter the wrong component entirely. When told specifically where there are many duplicated components and instructed to refactor, will only refactor the first instance of that component in the file instead of all instances in all files. When told to refactor code, fails to search for the breaks it caused, even when told to do so. What do you think the defense from people who defend AI, especially in a coding paradigm, what do you think the defense for this would be? There's usually two. I'll tell you in a sec. I just gotta have a sip here. Defense number one. Hang on, I gotta have another sip. My throat's a little parched. Okay, so defense number one is usually, or at least what I usually hear, it's only going to get better. It's just a matter of time. Think about where it was 2 years ago. Think where it will be 2 years from now. These problems will get resolved. Look at all the problems we have resolved. Lightspeed on Twitch brings up a good one. They're prompting wrong. I suppose that's a third argument. And then the second argument that I was thinking of, Lightspeed also brought it up. Context window. Context window is the amount of things that the LLM can store in memory that it references against when continuing to prompt through issues, right? Perfect. Let's continue. Oh, I missed two. Oh, bros, we weren't even done. I missed two. Will merrily produce files over 1,000 lines which exceed its context window over time, even when told to refactor early on. Will regularly erase entire root handlers if not bound to the file hierarchy. As currently designed, these models cannot learn new information. They cannot do better than the dataset they were created with. Instead, their capability is realized by how effective they can process tokens entering their context window. If you ask Claude 3.7 Sonnet to develop a runtime schema for validating some domain-specific language, and then ask it to refactor the file, because it is too large for its context window to continue, it will degrade and output incoherent nonsense before finishing its work. And when the article author says incoherent nonsense, just take a second while I take another sip of coffee and read the response here. It is literally incoherent nonsense. Just read that. I have schema files for each schema actored code. Question mark. Yo, dog, I heard you like schemas. That's right, Travis. My SaaS was built with Cursor, zero handwritten code. AI is no longer just an assistant, it's also the builder. Now you can continue to whine about it or start building. P.S. Yes, people pay for it. You cannot ask these tools today to develop a performant React application. In all fairness, this isn't fair, article author. You can't even ask a React developer to create a performant React application, okay? How can you expect AI to do it? You cannot ask these tools to implement a secure user registration flow. It will choose to execute functions like is user registered on the client instead of the server. So then he goes on to say, well, the author goes on to say that there's a hard requirement for these systems to have a trained professional babysit them and ensure that the output is of quality, which ultimately actually just takes up more time than it would to make it yourself. Look at the attempts to fix a user permission issue over and over and over and over again. And it just errors out because it can't handle it. Working around the problem. A modern Twitch plays Pokemon is going on right now. Claude plays Pokemon. And I am subbed to this. And I have been watching it. Sometimes I like to just have it running in the background while I code, because it's a very interesting... Let me pop this up here. Here. So here you go. Okay. I can't show this for too long, but this is it. You can catch them on Twitch. It's kind of fun to watch long, but you can see that they have Claude running the game by itself, right? So I'll stop it now. It mitigates the context window problem by starting a new context with seeded information provided by its previous incarnation in the form of many markdown files, which it can then read as if new and search via model context protocol during its playthrough. So essentially it's just bird feeding it, pre-chewing its own food and then feeding it back to itself. I have watched, the author brings it out, spent 43 hours intentionally blacking out over and over in Mount Moon, an in-game route between story locations, making no effective progress towards achieving its next goal. By the time it could second guess itself, its context window is no longer fit to continue. I have watched, I believe this Mount Moon thing, I watched it, and there was a previous thing where it got stuck in a cave. It was continually going in and out of a cave, in and out of a cave, in and out of a cave. And I would check like 12, 16 hours apart, and it was still going in and out of the cave, in and out of the cave. These things cannot comprehend basic things, right? So after a context cleanup completes, which takes about 5 minutes, the model proceeds to make the same mistakes its prior incarnation did. The notes it wrote are not meaningfully interpreted. While increasing the length of the context window improves some immediate experiences, this is a problem of scale. Okay. Now, the author brings up the fact that you cannot have the model search multiple sources at the same time. That's true, although I do think that probably is a solvable problem. I suspect it is. The memories have to be portable. You have to be able to extract memory or a particular snapshot of a model and then use it. That's kind of like what the agents are kind of supposed to do, etc. However, I think this is actually the most damning thing that the author brings out that I think makes AI an unusable piece of technology for the foreseeable future, at least in like a lifetime, if not more. Context window. We're programmers, right? Think about what would be required to have a large enough context window to be able to have Claude play Pokemon reasonably effectively. What do you think would be required? You would need to have actual places to store physical memory, so a mixture of hard drive and RAM usage. You need to have enough GPUs and GPU power. You would need to have enough CPUs and CPU power, and then you have to power the entire thing. I do not see a way where that level of scalability is within our reach. The energy requirements, if we could even overcome the hardware and memory and operational and performance requirements, and those are massive ifs, the power requirements alone makes that unfeasible. And then you want to tell me again how artificial general intelligence will be? The amount of power involved in that? I just don't think we have that right now. And to build something like that in a way that a programmer could run on an individual machine as they're coding away at X company, I don't actually mean X, I just mean like variable X company. What kind of power would you need to run in your home so that something like Cursor could actually be useful to you? It would have enough of a context window, and you could solve the multiple sources problem, and you could solve the problem of bad prompts, good prompts. Maybe you had training on prompts and you could write generally good prompts. Even if you could solve all that, what kind of power do you need to run it so that it runs effectively on your machine? We don't have that. So we are beholden to companies like Cursor or OpenAI, who essentially buy the power in bulk. Can you see any problems with this? Can you think of any possible downsides of this? This is great. This is fantastic for AI cultists. Religious cults thrive on periods of our history where religion took huge hold on people's mental thinking process. It was a huge part of their lives. Religious cults could thrive there because very few people question the downsides of belonging to a cult. And cults still thrive on the same operational premise today. When you find yourself a person or group of people who are inundated or prone to a particular way of thinking, it's really, really easy to get a foothold into their brain. And AI cultists are doing the exact same thing because AI is being hyped to no end. So it's really easy for them to take your money and say, yeah, you can't run this at home now, but don't worry, we got you. Just give us some of your money and we'll give you all these tools. And we won't tell you about all the different ways this can and will go wrong, on top of using your data and using your money in ways that you don't even know about, so that we can maximize our dollar numbers, essentially. And in the meantime, we'll tell you that AI advancements are just around the corner, like a good Jehovah's Witness will do, but it'll never come. But by then, who'll care? The money's there. AI is the concept of optimize later taken to excess. Yep. It's ridiculous how many resources these things need when all a person needs is some lunch and a bit of sleep. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Biology looking pretty optimized. Cold Fusion. Yeah, Cold Fusion Home Edition. That's right. The core thing that cults aim for is taking away critical thought, having someone else do it for you. Same thing, then someone else is just the AI. Right. AI is kind of like a mixture of bad ideas all wrapped together into one package. You have cult-like mentality, you have no critical thinking, you have but my feelings though, without any objective metrics or any objective facts to kind of guide you along in life at all. It goes against the natural order of things. That's it appeals to all the worst parts of society and the societal state, and very few of the good parts. I've heard some enterprise devs say they're not allowed to put any of their code in AI for data reasons. Yes, exactly. And I mean, to that point, okay, I'm going to put this one back down here because I want to save it for a future stream. Let me see if I have. No, not that, not that, not that. Not this. Not this, not this. Okay, here we go. So exactly to that point, Lightspeed, I have this article that I was going to go over today. I have a few more minutes, so might as well go over it before I call it a stream. Business IT departments have long fretted about unofficial applications in offices and networks. Now, shadow artificial intelligence poses a new challenge as workers create smart tools, content, images, and ideas, all with a little help from their friendly AI. The campaign against shadow IT has been somewhat nullified by the rise of low-code, no-code features. They let businesses solve operational problems with most enterprise apps. Even so, many firms zealously protect their networks from unsanctioned apps and code, but now you can bypass it. This new threat is the unsanctioned appearance of AI-generated tools and content in offices, the use of ChatGPT to create a few marketing headlines or sales bullets, Kite to generate whole AI-built apps or video clips from Hailuo AI are common examples. The results can slide into business ops, posing a growing legal and security threat. Some AIs borrow from existing content, others can create spurious claims or give wrong results. And if you're wondering, yes, an AI created the main image for this article. After all, imagery for Shadow AI is thin on the ground, but we went through our editorial channels to confirm if we could use it. A 2024 Software AG survey reported that 75% of knowledge workers already use AI, and 46% wouldn't give it up even if it were banned. So exactly to your point, Lightspeed. These things are being used inside of companies and code bases. And a lot of people don't actually want that to happen because it is legitimately a massive threat, legally and security-wise, and it has other impacts in the programming space like performance, good code versus bad code, down the road issues, etc. You still need an unhinged rant? Did you? Oh yeah, you claimed an unhinged rant. Should I do an unhinged rant? I can do an unhinged rant. Okay, so look. I'll close these. And I'll save the other articles for another stream. One sec. I'll do an unhinged rant. All right, I gotcha. Because I'm ready for one. Let me go over here. And then I'm going to do this. And I'm going to literally put it up here. Let me see if I can do this proper. No. Hang on. There we go. Okay. This whole stream is an unhinged rant? Yeah. Listen. Let me let the damn sirens go. One sec. Let me gather the kind of like the flow. Okay, I got it. I got to look into the camera here. Listen. Damn it, is the stupid thing hard to read? Fine. Then I'll just not do... I'll just go and turn the damn thing off. There. Okay? I have been screaming this from the rooftop for at least a year now, at least publicly on stream, but for a few years before that. Very few people listen. Very many people want to argue and defend against this general premise. As programmers, whether you like it or not, you are involved in an industry that a vast majority of the world depends on. You might only be creating code for a little itty-bitty website in one corner of the internet, but that code, what you do with that code, how you generate that code, what you use to generate that code, the performance impact of that code, who visits the website that runs that code, which device is running it, whether it runs well or not, what features it has, who you worked with, how you got to that point, what your managers think, what your executives think, how much money it makes. Every little square inch of all your work that went into that little itty bitty website has a huge impact on the people around you. Too bad if you don't like that and you're an idiot with your head up your own ass if you don't think that your little corner of the world has an impact on everyone else around you. And I'm not just saying the words. I have literally proven it on stream, scientifically, academically, and I've literally pulled up fucking Notepad and proven idiots that they're wrong when they say anything to the opposite. What you build at every square inch of your career in this space matters. And it matters in huge fucking ways. For example, one bad piece of code, just a few lines where you were too fucking lazy to do a proper check of security, of authentication, of some kind of a SQL injection attack, You name it. It could be something you wouldn't even think would be anything unless you gave it more than just a passive glance. Can have massive impact on people's lives, like taking down entire 911 call centers. I keep harping on this all the time. We've done this on one of my previous streams. We've gone over case studies of exploits out in the wild where people have literally used the most dumbass, retarded ways that a person could think of that should have never existed as an exploit, and it's out there and it's used, and it literally hurts people in a physical sense, not in a digital sense, not in an emotional sense. We have no idea how many people have lost their lives due to maybe some shitty code that you once wrote or that you might write in the future. And then you have people who are telling you that you're a piece of shit who can't think for themselves by saying, do you really want to reinvent the wheel all by yourself? We have all these things that you can use. You're one NPM install away from somebody much smarter than you having a library so that you don't have to be that guy who creates this proprietary mechanism so that you can like gatekeep. That's something that Theo likes to say a lot. I think he was saying it in defense of AI video games, and he was saying something like, it's really sad to see game developers gatekeeping and pulling up the ladder behind them. No, it's fucking not, you fucking moron. That's not what's happening. These developers are sick and tired of the shit that you peddle. You are literally ruining the fabric of society that we live in because you're bringing in really, really bad societal frameworks, ways of thinking into code. You're literally implementing retard level thinking into code and then saying, oh, don't gatekeep though. Don't be a fucking moron. What we really want and desperately need in this industry is people to step up and not think of themselves like idiots, because most of you are not, regardless of what your favorite tech influencer likes to say. And AI is a nail in the fucking coffin. It is a speed run to some of the worst, demonstrably worse outcomes that this industry can come up with. But we all just sit back and vibe code and give our money to it, and we're so happy about the way things are because automation in my life will be so much easier, and 10x developers, and now we don't have to deal with a whole bunch of seniors who like, oh, they're making fun of me. Stop being motherfucking pussies in the motherfucking schoolyard. Grow a pair, because we need you to grow a pair. So much of our society depends on people who actually know what the fuck they're coding and how it operates on hardware, including things like simple things that you wouldn't think of, like motherfucking dishwashers, which we just went over today. And I have heard that there are people who go out, like electricians who go out to the machines that, like the screens that monitor the electrical input and output of electrical poles or electrical units for cities, and running as software in those units, on those head units, is an a browser-based, Electron is just Chrome, just repackaged, with a React app so that you can manage the city's electricity from this head unit. What the actual ever-living fuck? Once you open that door, I have made this warning before. Once you open that easy door, and React was a huge easy door, AI seems like a fucking godsend. It's like the Prometheus fire from Mount Olympus itself. And you just know AI is going to get involved in entire aspects of people's lives that it should have no place being. Do you really want Claude 3.5, which can't operate motherfucking Pokemon, or 3.7 or whatever it is, to run your city's electrical grid in an Electron-based React website? Do you really want that? If you do, you're a fucking retard. This shit needs to stop. And the only way it stops is if you decide that you don't need to follow the status quo that is being peddled to you as some kind of panacea to the industry. The industry has never been in a place where things were so terrible back when people were writing fucking assembly. We have a lot of benefits that we get to enjoy today, and we squander almost all of it. We can do a lot more with a lot less, and we don't need all the bullshit that comes with it. And again, these are not things that I'm just saying to say them. I'm proving it. The game that I'm building proves it. I'm a high school dropout doing vanilla stuff with this game that a lot of people go like, why the hell would you do this? Because I can, and I can prove that someone like me can, and therefore you should too. And I've done the science and the academia behind it to look into these things. Name me one other fucking streamer, influencer, anybody who is willing to sit down and have a slogged out conversation or argue and battle with people online, have them come on and make their case against what I'm saying, or even present any amount of objective evidence. Name one other person who's willing to do that. I just want you to name one person. Can you name one person who sat down and actually read an academic paper? I think I can name one, and that person only started recently doing it in the last week. And they're not even in the same space as we are. They're kind of in a different space. But I'm willing to do that. You know why? Because I fucking care. And it matters to me. It has an impact to me. It has an impact to my family. And it has an impact on my friends. And it has an impact on the people around me in general, whether I know about them or not. And the same goes for you. So when I sit down and I write some code and it's for whatever that seems harmless and innocuous and who the hell cares about this and my code here, I think of it in a different way. I think of it as everybody in the goddamn world fucking cares about my code. Every single person. That's what we need more of. Less AI, less easy buttons, less let's be lazy motherfuckers, more let's actually give a shit. I think that if more people did that, the tech industry would be completely unrecognizable. It would be like Marvel alternate universe style. You wouldn't even know what the hell the tech industry was if that's how people thought about it. And that goes not just for you programmers, but also for managers and executives. Because if what you care about is outcomes as managers and what you care about is money as executives, once again, I have proven time and time again, academically, statistically, scientifically, and through actual practice on stream, you're welcome to look at all the fucking free live streams, hundreds of hours of it being publicly available for you to learn that the way that you hire, the way that you operate, the way that you manage your developers, the way that you think about long-term versus short-term gains, it's all fucking backwards. All of it. All of it. And the only thing you're doing is leaving behind you a wake of fire and destruction and patting yourselves on the back and then going in a corner and circle jerking each other. All of you can do better. Unfortunately, the buck stops with the programmers like you and I. And we unfortunately are the ones who are burdened with having to make these cases about how our code and how the way that we are managed and put together has an impact on all these areas of life. And very few of us are actually prepared to articulate any of these arguments. So I hope that by doing this, by showing how passionate I am and how much I care about this, by showing the data, by putting aside my own wants of like just sitting here for the last hour and a half and wanting to build my own game and whatever, by going through all of these articles, by making these arguments as logically as I can, I hope that I'm empowering more programmers like you to be able to make the case to others around you that we have to step it up. And that includes your managers and your executives and your colleagues. There we go. Let me see here. We really need to get our applications off the browser. Yeah. AI might not cause job redundancy as much as it create crap low-wage tech jobs from which a much larger output of garbage code is expected. I think that's more or less true. It will create more jobs. Yeah. I have a very strong feeling based on purely nothing but intuition and gut feeling that it probably won't take more than 12 months. I genuinely believe this. In 12 months or less, we're going to see a massive shift in tech hiring because AI is going to fail. It's going to take a few months, but it will fail so bad for a lot of companies. They're going to need expertise to come in, and they'll be begging people to come in. And a lot of people will be like, fuck you. Broken dishwasher software. Yeah. You're preaching to the choir. Hey, Lem, how's it going, Lem? Good to see you. The people who need to see this message are too busy learning React. Yeah, so this is the other thing is it sucks because I know my viewers generally tend to be viewers who more or less are, there may be differences here and there, kind of like on the edges, but the core thing is like we're agreed upon that we need to be doing better, yada yada yada. And when I sit down and I talk it out with people tend to kind of see what I'm trying to say. Even if I take the extreme version of my own arguments to their extreme end, people still generally tend to agree with me. I don't have the viewership. Who has the viewership? All the wrong people. Not all of them. There's definitely some good people who have high viewers, but it's not even close to the same thing. You're not going to get this kind of message from other tech influencers, as a matter of fact, or streamers or people online or, just generally people in general in this industry. Most of the time, what you're going to get is everything's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. Or you're going to get, in my opinion, a lot of it is the other end where no, Spiro's crazy. He's one of the gatekeepers who wants to pull the ladder up behind him. Fuck you. You need to get Lex to interview. That's never going to happen because I would never go on Lex Friedman's podcast, even if he invited me. Yeah, I do not take that guy seriously. I've only known vanilla because I was too lazy, couldn't be bothered to learn React. I thought it was unintuitive and difficult to run. Yeah, go and watch. If you're battle it, I think Laughfully has done this too. If you don't know React, go on Twitch and find somebody who's doing React and watch what they're doing, and it'll just seem like it's like alien language. You won't understand what the heck's going on. I can to some degree because I've worked with React, so I kind of get it, but it's still quite alien to me when I compare it to what I know about vanilla. It's going to fail, but in such a way where all these AI startups are going to go under when investors realize it's rubbish, further flooding the market with vibe coders. I'm not. I mean, you could be right. And honestly, I'm just going on intuition too. So it's how can I argue against what you're saying? You could be completely right, Travis. Lex is another fraud. What's wrong with Lex? I'm not going to talk about that. It's more of a personality thing. That's just me. I just don't like his personality. And, I have questions about some of the things he's said and done in the past, but it's more of a personal thing. So that's it. That's all I'll say, because what's the point? There's no point in doing any, it's not like I have something objectively where it can be Lex, right? Yeah, you don't have to like Lex. The exposure to spread the message might make it worth it. If Lex invited me on a podcast, I would just spread it that I got invited to a podcast by Lex and I turned it down. Of course, we could all be wrong. The singularity might be imminent. Yeah. Yeah, I did that. I had no idea what they were writing. It looked like markup, pretending to be JS. That's because it is, because JSX is markup. JSX is just HTML wrapped in JavaScript. That's all it is. That's what you see with React all the time. So it looks like the weirdest shit ever. That would have way less reach though than to do the actual interview. Travis, if the time ever comes and Lex actually gives me an invite, which I would put all my money down that will never ever happen for a number of reasons, including that I'm pretty sure other people would turn him away on my behalf. Let's put it that way. Then I'll talk to you and you can convince me to do it. All right. Let's do the Oprah hypothetical. Yeah, what's the Oprah hypothetical? Where everybody gets AI, you get invited. What if I got invited to like, yeah, forget it. Forget it. Okay, I'm way over time. I meant for this to go an hour. It's gone an hour and 20 some odd minutes. So I'm going to call it here. I'm going to end the stream. You guys got an unhinged rant, all right? As a 3D web coder using React, maybe go through hoops to unabstract so I could have the control I needed to get the geometry and shaders to behave the way I needed to behave to meet the job params. Yeah, probably like a React 3 Fiber with 3JS. I've had to do the exact same thing. I worked at a company where we were using React 3 Fiber. Underneath it was 3JS, I believe. And I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I thought it was the stupidest crap ever. It was so unintuitive. It was so abstracted, so obtuse. It was really dumb. And yeah. Okay, that's it. I gotta go. I genuinely have work to do. I'm grateful. I have a couple of people who are throwing work my way, and I'm really grateful for it. It's keeping me afloat, keeping everything running. But I do have to make sure I pay my dues and actually be a good, responsible worker here with my contract work. So I'm gonna go do that. And I appreciate all of you. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for the views. Listen, I hate doing this. It sounds really like gross and shilly, but as we were talking about, my reach is so minuscule. But if you like what I'm saying and you want me to say more of it and you want me to reach more people and get that message out, I have no problem. I kind of have a problem. I'd rather not be streaming. I wouldn't even be streaming if I didn't think there was a problem, but I will put my face out there. I will go and argue people. I don't care how popular they are. I will go and argue with them. I will go and try and present these arguments. I will go and try and present the data. I will try and make the statements that you guys think I should be making, but I can't do it unless I play the game, which is the algorithm game. So if you're out there and watching, please do the like and the subscribe and the repost and all of that. It's not about the money. It's more about that viewership and interaction. If you want me to do more of it, I'm happy to do it. Just help me out to do it. I need your help to do it. So that's all I ask. If you can, just free click or whatever. That's it. Yeah. I'm out of here. I'm going to work. If anybody cares, I am on Discord. You can just hit the bang Discord. Okay. And you can join the Discord. And I will be back tomorrow with more tech news on the daily, like usual. I will be, I think Sunday. I think my schedule is Sunday. I'm going to be able to do a stream after I get through some work this week. I have a couple of deadlines to meet. So I think Sunday I'll be doing a long stream. It's going to be either an enlightened programming stream because I have a huge backlog of data to go through, or it's going to be a chill program my game, put more assets in. The game's coming along. I'm plugging away on it. So, maybe it might be a chill video game stream. Maybe another unhinged rant, who knows? But probably Sunday, maybe Monday, that kind of a thing. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Have a good day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate everybody being here and watching this and hearing me rant. We need you guys to step up, all right? Peace.